Thanks for choosing us. Well, tonight, the Ghana Airports Company has officially terminated its contract with Evertex Logistics Limited. This decision comes amid ongoing investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor into the circumstances surrounding the award of a revenue assurance contract to Evertex. The probe specifically examines the role of Paul Adom-Otchere, the former board chair of the Ghana Airports Company, in the contracts award. We'll bring you the latest shortly on that, but let's take a listen to the Special Prosecutor, Kise Jabing, on Mr. Otchere's failure to provide a landed property.
In this institution, and as required by law, we do not use bail to punish individuals. No. Indeed, when we go to court, when we charge people when we go to court, we don't oppose bail. Director of Prosecutions, have we ever opposed bail? Last week, Wednesday, I did an arraignment in respect of the MPA matter. When it got to bail, I just got up and told her ladyship that we are not opposed to bail, so we are leaving it in her charge. Okay. We don't oppose bail. We do not use bail to punish individuals in this office. What we do is just to secure by law your attendance in respect of the investigations, and if we are minded to take you to court, if we think we have the requisite evidence. So here, when you are, and this is to the general public, when you are invited, it's not an invitation. When you are directed to come here as a suspect, mind you, you have to post bail. And that is why in the direction, the communication directing you, we tell you that you may come along with counsel of your choice. Immediately you go for counsel of your choice. The person, by his or her training as counsel, knows that if you are being directed to show up as a suspect, you would be required to post bail. So if you are not directed to show up as a suspect, but invited to come as a person of interest, that is a different kettle of fish. And sometimes you also be invited as a potential witness. That is a different kettle of fish. And sometimes as an informant or a confidential source. That's a different kettle of fish. So look closely at the correspondence, what is contained there. If it is titled, Direction to Attend the OSP, and it is stated in there that you are regarded as a suspect, and you may come in with counsel of your choice, mind you, you need to post bail. Now, when it comes to posting of bail, now members, you crafted and passed Act 959 LI 2374 and 2373. You would notice that the focus of the OSP regime is based on you will notice that the focus of the OSP regime is 90% geared towards prevention and recovery. Yeah. So that's why I alluded to this point earlier, that our plea bargain system is more benign than the general one. Indeed, you can come and offer us info, and just by offering us info that there's this thing going on here which will lead to serious recovery, the law says the special prosecutor can accept that and let you go, just by giving that credible info, or to offer to pay this amount of money, and if it's acceptable to us and the court, we let you go.
Well, let's bring you the latest on Paul Adom-Otchere. My colleague Michael Ashali joins me in the studio with details. We have an update on his detention at the OSP. What do we know?
So, firstly, we know that about a few hours ago, there was a message from his lawyers and his company, people around him, who tell us that he's been set free only because of some variation in the bail terms that has been provided for him. We know that if you take this back 24 hours ago, when he was arrested, the statement from the OSP said that he had to provide 2 sureties or 2 landed properties. Of any value, it means that that landed property could even cost 1 cedi and would help him check this particular bail condition. So as of 24 hours ago, he was supposed to provide 2 landed properties of no specific value, but had to be in his name. And from that statement again from the OSP, we know that the response from Paul Adom-Otchere was that he did not have any such property in his name in the country at the moment. So he could not provide that or could not meet the bail term. So he was then under arrest and was still under detention. But just a few hours ago, we just heard that that bail terms had been revised. We are told that based on this revision, he's now met it, and that Jospon Group, which we also know that runs Metro Ghana, Metro TV, is the one that is now standing surety for Paul Adom-Otchere to meet this particular bail term. So the initial one, he doesn't now, we don't know what exactly is the fine details in there, but we know that the original terms has been changed, for which he's now been able to meet it and has been allowed to go home.
But the subject of this controversy really is that contract between Evertex and the Ghana Airports Company. We know that there's an update to that contract in itself. Let's go into the clause that permits the Ghana Airports Company to, first of all, even terminate that contract. So,
Faustina, if you go to page number 7 of the contract they originally signed, and this contract was signed in the first week of December 2024, and on page 7, clause number A says on that, which specific details out on termination specifically. It says that clause number A says that both parties, which is Evertex or Ghana Airports Company Limited, could terminate the arrangement that or the contract they are entering into. But the only thing is that you have to give me 1 month notice. And that's exactly what is stated in that particular clause. And that contract, we know, has been terminated. They've triggered this clause. Yes, so as part of the exclusive documents that JoyNews is privy to, we know that the company, as at 28th of July 2025, they had written to Evertex to discontinue this particular contract that they have with them. And if you look at that letter, it only makes a reference to the specific specific termination clause, which is in page number 7, clause A of the original contract, which says that is behind you. Yes, they just took it off right now. Yes, so this particular, so 28th of July, that's when the airport company wrote to Evertex, and you can see that addressed to the chief executive officer, and it tells you that we'll wish to bring to your notice that this agreement, pursuant to the termination clause A of the agreement, which states as follows, that a party may terminate this agreement. It goes on to say that we only have to give you 1 month prior written notice, which is exactly what is staring at you at the moment. And that is what has been sent to Evertex. And we understand that they've been given until the 27th of August 2025 to actually, in their terms, demobilize and leave the premises of Kotoka International Airport. So as it stands now, that contract does not exist between these two companies, but we don't know the finer details for which they have taken this decision. We know that the original contract meant that Evertex was supposed to do some revenue assurance, after which every month, if they manage to bring in more money than originally expected, they'll be given 15% of that amount. But exactly, again, we don't know why they have decided to terminate this contract. Thank you, Michael Ashadi. Just giving us a breakdown some of the key provisions. Now, away from that to other stories, the countdown is on. MultiChoice Ghana has until August 7th to reduce DStv subscription fees or risk losing its broadcasting license. Communications Minister Samuel Nate-George says the company replied with a 9-page letter defending the current prices, but government insists the fees must drop. He also warned the next generation infrastructure company to begin full commercial 5G rollout by the year's end or face a possible license termination. There's more in the following report.
Minister for Communications Samuel Nate-George has given MultiChoice Ghana, operators of DStv, until August 7 to reduce subscription prices. He says the company in recent engagements refused, citing currency depreciation.
Enough of the mistreatment of the Ghanaian consumer. They either comply with the reduction, because in Nigeria, in the same time frame that they say the Ghanaian cedi has depreciated by 240%, the Nigerian naira has depreciated by 409%. If Nigerians are paying equivalent of $29, DStv must charge same here in Ghana, or we will suspend their broadcasting license effective 7th of August 2025.
But the minister isn't backing down. He insists that if they fail to meet the deadline, their broadcasting license will be suspended.
I want to know what expertise they have in determining the future of the Ghanaian economy. We are simply acting as regulators. We will not give a license to a foreign entity to come and fleece Ghanaians. You want to work here in Ghana, you will work in the interest of the Ghanaian people. I gave them 21 days, they responded. I've given them another 7 days. By 7th of August, the NCA would suspend their broadcasting license if they don't come back to us with a reduction in price for the Ghanaian people.
He also warned Next Generation Infrastructure Company to begin full commercial 5G rollout by the end of the year or risk license termination.
Why do you want me to add additional ISP licenses for you? No, deal with MNOs. Let's see that you've rolled out with MNOs. 6 months after you've rolled out with MNOs, we'll consider granting ISP licenses as well. But for now, like I have indicated, if by end of Q4, we do not see a full commercial rollout on telecom operators of the NGIC 5G network, we would take away the exclusivity clause and then review the entire license arrangement in the interest of the Ghanaian people.
The minister dismissed claims of unexplained data depletion as unsubstantiated. He says a technical task force found most losses are due to user settings and background app activity, not manipulation by service providers.
Every single one of the complaints that have been referred to the team have been investigated, and all of them have proven that it is user settings and user behaviors that have affected the use of their data, and that there has been no price tampering.
Sam George says 58 of the 64 shutdown radio stations have applied to regularize their operations. He warned the rest to act quickly or face swift sanctions without warning.
Well, let's explore this further. Joining me in the studio is a key member of the JoyNews Research Desk, Caleb Ziblim, as we look at some of the key disparities when it comes to the cost of DStv subscription in Ghana as compared to other individuals and other countries around the world. But Ghanaians are backing the minister's directive to MultiChoice, saying the move could finally bring relief from high DStv subscription fees. Here's what some of you have been saying on the streets.
I think it's fair enough because looking at the subscription of the DStv, the dollar rate has gone down and they are still maintaining their subscription, because once the dollar rate went up, they increased their subscription to match the gainward of the dollar. But since it has reduced, I think it will be fair enough to also reduce their subscription rates.
I think it's a welcoming news, because I think you want everyone to get maybe at least DStv, because some of them don't have maybe, like, let's take it, sports, another movie to watch or something. So when they reduce the price, many people will get money to buy, then use it.
If they are to cut off their licenses, there are a lot of matches that they are going to show that our local stations or our local channels doesn't show. And it's going to make people who are interested in football and any other related activities like wildlife, because there's this particular channel on the DStv app that's Nat Geo Wild. That aspect of DStv is very educative, you understand? So if they are going to cut off the license, I think in a way it's not going to help, but in a way too, they can also cut down their costs, and then it would help we all.
I think it's in order. I agree with the minister. Looking at the general market, I think things are drastically being reduced. So I think DStv should take this thing in good faith. I think they are in Ghana to do business, and then if you're the Minister of Communication is saying that they are partners, so I think it has happened to a lot of network, and then coordinate with the government, and then try, and then it won't take anything from them.
Well, let's explore this further. Join me in the studio is my colleague Caleb Ziblim, as we just look at some of these key issues unfolding, and we're just looking at how much we pay as compared to other countries. Are they being unfair to us, really? Let's look at the data.
Okay, so looking at the prices of the same package, premium package,
okay,
DStv in Ghana, Nigeria, and South Africa, you can see from the chart that Ghana is way above Nigeria and South Africa.
Okay.
Ghana, in dollar terms, we pay around $82 for a premium package. In Nigeria, they pay $29 for a premium package. And in South Africa, they pay $38 for a premium package. And this is all from the MultiChoice group. So in Ghana, if you convert to cedis, in Ghana, we pay about 800 cedis for a premium package. Nigeria, they pay around 300 cedis for the same premium package. And South Africa, they pay a little above 300 cedis for another premium, for almost 400 cedis for a premium package as well.
But the gap is wide, really.
Yes.
$82.41 for the same service, which Nigerians are paying $29.05 for. And I'm sure that's why the minister wants them to look into this. What else have you been finding, though?
Yes, and like you said, but it also depends on the markets. Because, you know, in Ghana, we have a smaller population. So
Okay.
if Nigeria, you are dealing with a larger population, you can reduce price and then, you know, meet your profit margins and profit targets. But then I'm sure the Communication Ministry and NCA have analyzed all this data, and they have decided, according to the minister, that DStv or MultiChoice is being exploitative. And according to the minister, they need to reduce prices to match Nigeria's price. So the minister has given them up to August 7th that Ghana's DStv premium package should come down to $29 or 300 cedis. So according to the minister, they have to match the Nigerian package price by August 7th, or the NCA will take off their license.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Caleb, for bringing us that update on that. Well, let's take you back to our earlier story. We told you that Paul Adom-Otchere has been able to meet the bail conditions set to him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And thankfully, I have his lawyer, one of his lawyers, because he has a legal team, join us here on JoyNews Prime. His name is Lenin Ananieje. We appreciate your time here on JoyNews Prime. First of all, we picked information that your client was initially released and then invited once again by the OSP. What happened during that period?
A very good evening to your viewers this evening, Mamiesi, and thank you for having me. So, after meeting the bail conditions, the OSP had indicated that it was unable to release Mr. Adom-Otchere on his premises. And so his lawyers should indicate at their pleasure where they want him released. And so the former Attorney General, Mr. Dame, indicated he had no objection to him being released at his office at Cantonments, Dame and Partners. So the team, that is the lawyers, together with the security personnel, with Mr. Adom-Otchere in their custody, set off to Cantonments, only for them to indicate that they had received a call to return back to the premises of the special prosecutor. And so they went, no explanation was offered to us, but after about 2 hours there, they set off again to Mr. Dame's office where they released Mr. Adom-Otchere.
Interesting. Now, what exactly was your client subjected to when he was in custody with the OSP?
So, after his detention last night, we did not have access to him until much later today when he came. And so I'm unable to provide the specifics of what may have transpired while in his detention. What I can say, however, is that Mr. Adom-Otchere, as you know him, is a man of conviction and is very lively. And so today when we met him, amidst all the things he's been through since last night, he was still in good spirits. And in the coming days, I'm sure you would see him speak to these matters.
And we know that the bail conditions were revised before you were able to meet them. Tell us the new conditions set.
So today, the condition that was set by the OSP after conversations with us was that Mr. Adom-Otchere should provide one third-party surety with any landed property. And so this time, the properties were not required to be in his name, neither were the people required to be public servants, one of whom should not be less than the rank of a principal. And further to that, the OSP again agreed that because he works with Metro TV, a corporate guarantee would be acceptable. And so the Jospon group of companies stood as surety, and then the group provided a property in the name of one of its subsidiaries. But the happenings today for us vindicate our position yesterday that the OSP really had no justification in setting the bail conditions that they did. Because if one surety with a landed property is acceptable to them to secure Mr. Adom-Otchere's attendance, then why couldn't that have been done yesterday? Why the insistence that at all costs he had to provide landed property in his name, else remain in detention? And so we feel very vindicated in our position yesterday that that condition that was set was unreasonable and was without basis when you look at the circumstances.
And then moving forward, really, we know that that contract between Evertex and the Ghana Airport Company has been terminated. What then will be the fate of this case before the OSP?
It is left for the OSP to determine, But it is for this exact reason that our constitution presumes every accused person innocent until proven guilty, because it may turn out that investigations may reveal that no wrongdoing has been done. And it is why persons who hold prosecutorial powers and discretion in exercising that power must balance the interest of the accused persons against the investigations they are doing. It is why you do not treat accused persons or suspects as convicted persons, because so long as they have not been convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction, they remain like every other Ghanaian individual whose rights and liberties must be respected and must not be unnecessarily restrained, as happened yesterday.
But currently, what charges are before your client?
For the record, Mr. Adom-Otchere has not been charged with any offense known to our criminal laws. He has been cautioned and informed that an investigation is being conducted into possible suspected offenses, including breach of procurement rules, the use of public office for private gain, and then also the last one being corruption and corruption-related offenses. But in all of these, there has been no specific allegation or mention of what conduct of his is deemed to have been the corruption and corruption-related activity, or what gain he's alleged to have gotten from this particular transaction, or any of those. The OSP as itself indicates the matters are still in investigation, and so we live to see what the conclusion of those investigations will be and whether it would ground a possible offense capable of being proven beyond reasonable doubt as required by our criminal procedural laws.
Thank you so much, Counsel, for your time here on JoyNews Prime. My name is Faustina, by the way. Away from that, a classroom dispute has ended in an unimaginable tragedy at Kimbo Technical Senior High School. A student was allegedly stabbed to death by a fellow student following an altercation. The accused is now on the run, and the victim's family is demanding swift justice. There's more in the following report.
What should have been an ordinary school day ended in a heartbreak for the family of Adib Al-Hassan, a student of Kimbo Technical Senior High School. The 17-year-old was allegedly stabbed by a classmate during a dispute that escalated far beyond words.
Our hospital since morning. No teacher be a headmaster no obiamba.
The incident happened on 31st July, and the suspect, identified only as Musa, is currently on the run. Adib's family is devastated. Yusuf Abdul Salam is the uncle of the deceased.
Information ni omsi omutinima. Ono ba hono ena okachen say una udi miniani ena oyi sika no ona odu wonu. Omudu wonu. Nkwala na omo hapo ni mate no. Se ompese ono omo nkasa omo hapo ase bibia esi ombeka chem. Enti school bibia because you are Muslim. And by this time, like I say, you say you body no akosi, but it's debut. You are not rushing. You pay justice. You pay justice. Yeah, idea. Ni parents wa baha no pumpini phone na idea you pay no mufa akola no mbra. You mufa akola no ma police. Idea wo ho no echire beka. Nti asema esi no.
Regional Education Authorities quickly stepped in, meeting with the bereaved family in a bid to de-escalate the situation. Muntari Wahab is the assemblyman for Latibia-Okoshi.
We deliberated on the way forward, but from observation, I mean, school authorities, you know, am I a little bit slow with senior manuko because they have some vital information. I say the police so that the police better me continue on investigation, but instead of giving it to the police, you know. They have become slow. As
the community mourns, many are left asking how a conflict in a classroom ended in the loss of a young life.
Away from that, let's head to Parliament now, where the minority spokesperson on economy and development is taking government to task over what he calls a failure to act swiftly in preventing a 15% tariff slapped on exports to the United States. Kojo Nkrumah says the new trade restrictions could cost the country millions in revenue and jobs. There's more in the following report.
The minority is accusing President John Dramani Mahama administration of missing a critical opportunity to shield Ghanaian exporters from new U.S. trade penalties.
So I think first it's disappointing that despite all the signs being on the wall, we have ended up here where we now have a 15% tariff on Ghanaian exports to the US market. And it's more disappointing because we had earlier suggested that the president himself has to engage at the highest level. But this administration, unfortunately, is interested in a lot of PR settings. If you look at the breadth of the tariffs across other countries, it could trigger another round of global inflationary pressures, which could then come back to haunt us. And so in that regard, you again expect government to begin to explore how they can mitigate.
Ranking member on Parliament's Economy and Development Committee, Kojo Nkrumah, warns the impact of the tariffs goes beyond trade imbalances. According to him, it is a threat to Ghanaian jobs and livelihoods.
You will also then begin to realize that the jobs that lead to that productivity will also now begin to dwindle. So it has a value chain effect, and it is important for government to quickly pivot and look at where else can I find markets that are not less competitive, so that the export earnings, the export volumes, the growth, and the jobs that come out of those exports will not suffer inordinately.
But that's not all. Mr. Nkrumah says his side of the house will dig deeper into government expenditure when Parliament returns from recess.
We will also at the same time be looking at their 2025 programs. Remember, we have been demanding the programs, especially the ones that the government has launched. Today, Parliament is rising. Not one of those programs has been brought before Parliament. But at least if they appear for the 2024 APRs, we'll also be questioning them on the 2025 programs. But I want to reiterate that it is important that those program documents are brought to Parliament, because that's where you see the scope of the program, who the potential beneficiaries are, what the key performance indicators are. It took only the mid-year for us to realize that apparently the budget releases for many of those programs is zero so far. And that is not fair to the people who have faith in those programs and have contracted the government to deliver those programs.
Still in Parliament, the minority leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin is warning the majority in Parliament to tread carefully on how they treat the NPP MPs. He says their current posture could deepen division and derail parliamentary cooperation. While admitting that his own party is facing a crisis, he insists those issues will be resolved in due course. Afenyo-Markin believes open dialogue, not domination, is what the legislature needs now. He spoke earlier on the pulse of my colleague Elton Brewe.
2016, we had 169 seats. What happened just in 4 years? Just in 4 years. We came back with 137 seats. They also had 137 seats, meaning that they reclaimed.
Yeah, all they see, they lost to you.
32 seats just within 4 years. Now, the posture upon getting huge majority becomes a problem when you lose that majority, and now you'd have to go and negotiate. Okay? And that's what I keep reminding our friends. You now have 180 plus.
84.
So you think that, after all, the 88 or 87, we can railroad our way and then they don't matter. But even so, you realize that there are times that they themselves don't have even the 138 to do business. And that is when they try to make the overtures and try to be accommodating. But as soon as they know they have over 140, their posture changes. I'm saying that we don't need this. We are building a democracy. You never can tell tomorrow, look, today they see that our party is in crisis, which is true. We have our own challenges. We've been in power 8 years. We have major interventions that we were able to implement. We also made some mistakes. Ghanaians have punished us for our mistakes. Maybe the expectation was very high. They will not accept excuses. They punished us. And we are back home. You are now in office. In 4 years, NDC has forgotten one thing. They would also have a leadership issue. Because President Mahama, this is his last term.
At least in the next 2 years.
Of course. This is his last term. And if they don't manage themselves well, there's going to be an early lame duck period for his presidency.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime. When we return after this quick turn, national security is raising alarm over the growing number of chieftaincy, land and ethnic disputes across the country. Please stay for details. Thanks for staying with us here on JoyNews Prime. To other stories now, national security is raising alarm over the growing number of chieftaincy, land and ethnic disputes across the country. Out of 503 reported cases, 130 are considered existential threats to Ghana's peace and stability. The National Security Council is urging greater involvement of traditional leaders in resolving long-standing conflicts in hotspots like Boku and Nkwanta. There's more in the following report.
A team from the National Security Council, led by COP Osman Abdul Razak, met the National House of Chiefs in Kumasi over security issues. The National Security Council particularly expressed worry about the raging conflict in Boko and Nkwanta. According to COP Razak, the Boko conflict has negatively impacted commercial activities in the area as the government has moved to review curfew imposed on the area. He believes the solution lies in traditional rulers.
Chieftaincy and land disputes have claimed nationwide considerable lives. Many others have also been made. These are not just statistics we're mentioning. They are fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters, and most of all, your subjects whose dreams have been cut short. Cut short by conflicts that should never have occasioned. Nananum, the solution lies not in the barrel of a gun, but in the wisdom of your royal courts. With wise counsels, the power of your words, because you are prepared by the people, and we accept your authority.
The National Security Council has also expressed worry over the proliferation of arms in the country. They point to indiscriminate firing of musketry as one of the issues that should be tackled.
That the musketry should be fired far away from the procession and also from our chiefs, using traditional gunpowder. All you need is the sound, but of late, what they are doing is rather displaying very sophisticated weapons, and that is leading to the proliferation of weapons in our community. Nananum, we urge you to help us.
He further expressed worry over the harm being caused to the environment by illegal mining.
Galamsey has evolved from an environmental problem into a national security risk or crisis. When community can no longer drink from its river, when farmlands become wasteland, when the young people see no future except in the destruction of mining pits, we have not just as an environmental disaster, we have a perfect breeding ground for criminality and social unrest.
The chiefs have expressed willingness to support the government to protect the country. For JoyNews, Nana Kumasi.
Tensions are rising in La as traditional leaders accuse the government of politically motivated manhunt. This comes after a warehouse linked to businessman Magdan was demolished. The La chief priest is calling on President Mahama to act. There's more in the following report by my colleague Stephen Mensah.
So I'm standing here at the site of the demolished warehouse here in Airport. A controversial demolition, one the La Traditional Council isn't taking lightly with. The warehouse is reportedly owned by businessman Daniel Macaulay, and it was pulled down under controversial circumstances, one the La Traditional Council isn't taking lightly with. Chief priest of the La Traditional Council, Ni Pra Yemu VII, is calling on President Mahama to launch swift investigations, prosecute those responsible, and halt what he describes as a targeted political attack.
Because Magdan doesn't hold presidency. He's not one of the ministers. He's not one of the MPs. Do you understand? He's a board chairman in International Trade Fair. And they give the contract to him that we should vacate everybody in the land. That's why you see this kind of chaos where they have been bringing over there. So it will be like the thing is personal attack going separating here and there, and we know But later, we give you 3. You wait, but we have done what we have done. See the wind will blow.
He's also demanding that government sees to it that the warehouse is rebuilt and negotiations begin with Magdan.
We are praying to the John Mahama that they should put this into order. Let them go rebuilding. And they should call Magdan, sit down, one-on-one. I think the problem will be solved.
For Joy News, I am Stephen Mensah.
Away from that, Ghana is extending a sweet gesture of solidarity, donating 40 metric tons of cocoa products to Palestine as humanitarian aid. President John Dramani Mahama says the gift is both symbolic and practical, reinforcing Ghana's support for a peaceful two-state solution. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbawa has more in the following report.
President Mahama said the images and stories emerging from the conflict zones, particularly the suffering of innocent civilians, especially women and children in Gaza, are heartbreaking. He said Ghana's decision to donate 40 metric tons of golden tree chocolate and other cocoa products to the state of Palestine as part of a humanitarian aid package is symbolic because cocoa is one of Ghana's most treasured natural commodities. He said it represents a significant source of economic livelihood for millions of Ghanaian farmers and families. He said it is also practical as cocoa is a powerful superfood rich in antioxidants and vitamins and supports the immune system.
In this regard, the government of Ghana is pleased to extend a humanitarian donation of about 40 metric tons of premium Ghana-made chocolate and cocoa-based products under the distinguished Golden Tree brand to the people of the state of Palestine. It is symbolic because cocoa is one of Ghana's most treasured natural commodities. It represents a significant source of economic livelihood for millions of Ghanaian farmers and families and embodies our national values of resilience, warmth, and generosity. It is practical because cocoa is a powerful superfood. It is rich in antioxidants and vitamins. It supports the immune system. It promotes cardiovascular health and enhances brain function and emotional well-being.
President Mahama said Ghana remains firm in its support for a negotiated two-state solution to the Palestinian question.
Your Excellencies, Ghana's humanitarian support also reflects our principled stand in favor of international peace, justice, and human dignity. We remain firm in our support for a negotiated two-state solution to the Palestinian question. This is in line with international law and relevant United Nations resolutions. We continue to call on all parties to the conflict to embrace diplomacy, commit to dialogue, and end the cycle of violence.
The Palestinian ambassador to Ghana, Abdul Fattah Ahmed Khalil al-Stari, who received the items, said his people, particularly the children and women in Gaza, will never forget the support.
My people, our children, our women in Gaza and the West Bank, they cannot forget the support. And all of us cannot imagine if our children, after close to 2 years now, did not have food, did not have water, don't have light, don't have medicine. If this chocolate arrived to Gaza, it will arrive. And our children only see the chocolate. You cannot imagine how much they will be happy. And you cannot imagine how much they will be more than happy when they eat it.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime. We'll be back with Showbiz. Please stay tuned in.